When people say infinity, I don't think they understand the magnitude of what that means.
Okay.
So, if the universe is truly infinite, then that means that there are enough alternate timelines for the same exact series of events to have played out in the same exact way as they did in this reality. It's a mathematical probability that the same exact you and the same exact me exists somewhere out there.
Here we are. It has been a while. It's been way too long. You just saw the reason why it's been so long. The trailer to my short film, Afterlight, which I wrote, directed, edited, and financed. So it's a very, very personal story to me. And believe it or not, it's about an astrophotographer with a YouTube channel called Mike's Epic Photos.
Here we are. It's March, it's a new moon, so to your Northern Hemisphere viewers, it is the return of Milky Way core season.
Somewhat autobiographical, but it's something that came out really much better than I hoped it would, which is really rare for me to say. We shot it on location in Alabama Hills, and it was not easy bringing a film crew out to the desert to shoot this thing, but we did it, and I'm glad we did. So anyways, that's why I haven't been on YouTube in so long. Not that anyone really cares, but for the very few people who are wondering if I just completely abandoned the channel, I have not. I made this film, and now we're back. We're back in action. We're back out making YouTube videos. I shot this one that you're about to see in May, 5 months ago. The biggest takeaway from this photo trip, I guess, on Mother's Day, the day before Mother's Day, was actually the way that I edited the photo. So from time to time, when I think I have something that's really going to help you guys out more than just a philosophical video, if you will, about how I just go out and take pictures, I'll share it with you in a tutorial format. So this is my first time actually making kind of a tutorial. Maybe it'll help somebody out. I hope it does.
So the goal of this trip was to capture a 50mm image of Antares and that little cluster of stars that comes up right before the Milky Way. It's at the heart of the Scorpius constellation, and it's my favorite star in the night sky. So I wanted to capture that star in that cluster with the random Joshua tree in the foreground. Now, being a family man, and this being the day before Mother's Day, I had some tight parameters to work within. I needed to drive somewhere less than 2 hours away so I can capture my image and then drive home so I could be here for Mother's Day morning. So I started driving north in search of a Joshua tree in a dark sky. My first stop was Red Rock Canyon, and what happened there was not enjoyable.
All right, so here we are. We are at Red Rock Canyon State Park. Always been a little curious about this area. Explored it very briefly one time. Less than 2 hours from the house. So I want to take a look at what's out here, looking for a Joshua tree field. And I have an inkling that maybe up this path we could find some ideal situations. 4-wheel drive recommended. We don't quite have a 4-wheel drive, but we've got the wilderness. But there's always a problem. For some reason, I didn't bring my jack, so if I get a flat tire, I'm completely SOL. We're gonna take a chance. We're gonna go up that path and see what's up there. Wish me luck.
Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but there I am in a very precarious position. Now, for whatever reason, off-road terrain never looks as impressive on video as it does when you're there experiencing it, but trust me, this was really steep and narrow. You can see the entire back of the car bouncing a couple feet off the ground actually. And yeah, I am grinding the side of the car into the mountain.
Oh God, I'm scratching the fuck out of the car.
I gotta say though, the battle scar was not as bad as I anticipated.
Little battle scar right on the plastic cladding though. That's what it's for. Whew. Yes, the car's cut out for this, but I'm not. Well, here we are. And I may have gotten so lucky. It was just a car. I was about to say, you know what? I'm not gonna find anything tonight. And then I saw this path on the side of the road, and it's exactly what I was looking for. Look at this. I can't believe it. We are in a little Joshua tree field. There's not a ton of Joshua trees, but they're here with a low horizon, headed in the right direction, and it's perfectly clear. And look, we even have little blooms here. So I'm gonna head out to some of these Joshua trees right now, and it's pretty amazing. It's exactly what I wanted. I can't believe it. All right, so I came out to what I believe to be the nicest looking Joshua tree in this field, as you can see right here. And luckily, there are really nice looking blooms leading up to it. So this is southeast. Milky Way is going to be coming right up there perfectly. And here we are. We're going to get a 14mm shot for the foreground, highlighting these blooms with the tree. And then we're going to get our Milky Way, or our Antares little constellation, with the 50mm tract, and I think we might actually come out with exactly what we set out for. So let's set it up. Here is the setup. We ended up going with this little tripod, and this is anything but a stable tripod, so I'm really counting on Photoshop to align these images and focus stack them perfectly. So we did, this was our composition, and we got these beautiful blooms, and of course this perfect looking Joshua tree. So I've got the move, shoot, move tracker set up. First time I've ever tried it with a 50mm, and I didn't think it was gonna work as good as it is. It is so dialed in right now. I'm able to do 45-second exposures, and it looks awesome. I have it set at 1600 ISO at f5, and I'm getting like a starburst around Antares. So anyways, 50mm, 45-second exposures, f5, and 1600 ISO. I'm gonna take probably 20, I don't know, 30 exposures of that Antares and the surrounding stars, and it's such a dynamic shot of the stars because we have the bottom of the nebula, the Milky Way.
I'll spare you from my over-animated and under-educated explanation of why I think this looks cool, and just show it to you now. I gotta say, I really like how this came out. I really like this picture. Photoshop did a fantastic job. I was worried about this, but a great job of focus stacking the foreground. I took about 6 images, I'm pretty sure, focus stacked and aligned in Photoshop, and brought in my background, and yeah, I really like how this came out. And I ended up using 45-second images, so there's a lot of data here for the stars. And as you can see, we have a starburst around Antares, and man, I mean, this is pretty much exactly what I set out for, which anytime you get exactly what you set out for, that's a victory, especially in landscape astrophotography. So finally, here is the one-click solution that you were promised. All right, so we're gonna open up After Effects, assuming everyone has Creative Cloud. This is the video effect software. There's my project, Joshua Tree, May 11th, which is kind of sad since it is November. Anyways, there's my files. All we need is 2. We've got the background and the foreground. There's the background, there's the foreground. So we're gonna build this thing. So we need to have a composition. That's the first step. All right, so you could go to Composition, New Composition. Then you can name it. You can pick your width, your height, your dimensions, but there's an easier way. So we're gonna cancel that. Then all you wanna do is you wanna pick your background layer first. So you pick your background layer right there. And you drag it into this little box and just drop it. And it just creates a composition with the exact dimensions of your photo. There is our background. Okay, and if you look here, you go to composition settings and you can see the dimensions there perfectly what your photo is. And you can go ahead and name it anything you want. We'll just put Joshua Tree image. Okay, so now we have our background. We want to bring in our foreground. Now, After Effects is a layer-based system just like Photoshop, so you bring in your foreground and you want to drop it right on top of the background. Boom. Now, we shot this with different cameras, so you want to scale it down. This is the A7R3, and the stars were shot with the A7 IV. This is higher resolution, so you want to go to scale it down there to the same size as your background. So now you have 2 layers. You've got your foreground on top. Actually, I don't like it how it's framed. I'm gonna drag it down a little bit. Looks pretty good right there. Okay. Doesn't really matter if the top's showing because we're gonna key out the sky anyways. So you click on the top layer. You have your foreground. You can make it disappear by clicking the eyeball. Boom. Now you see the background, bring it back. There, that's what you see right there. And then you bring it back and it's on top. One on top of the other, okay? So you want to scroll in with the mouse, and then if you hold spacebar, you'll get the hand. And when you have the hand, you can move this around. All layers will move. You're just going to view different parts. Now this obviously is the problem area. Look at all of these twigs and bushes and everything. Just a composite nightmare. Okay, when I first went to edit this, I didn't know how I was going to do it. The quick select tool in Photoshop, definitely not an option. It's impossible to mask this out manually. Some sort of luminosity thing in Photoshop, which makes my head spin. So since I have a video background, I thought, why not try this in After Effects? It's an effect. It's a very, very simple effect. And you want to make sure your effects and presets are showing by just going to Window, Effects, and Presets. Mine are already there. And you type in Key Light. And this is just like a green screen key option, Key Light. There it is. All you got to do is highlight it and drag it right on to your top layer. Boom. So Key Light is really, it's a green screen tool. So this is, all we're doing is we're finding the most prevalent color that we need removed from the image. You click on the color dropper selector, and here's the one click. You find the color you want, and boom, that's it. You're pretty much done. I mean, one click, and you have a really, really nice mask. It preserved most of the twigs, most of the edges. Now, I may not have picked the exact perfect color, so you can tweak that a little bit. You can slide the sliders. I'll show you in a second. But look at this. I mean, it's pretty good. Now, we have to fix the bottom here. So by one click, I meant it takes one click to watch the video. And one more click to like the video. So if this is a new technique for you, yeah, like the video. I really appreciate it. So really, if you want, you can go in here and you can slide the color around to really try to find the perfect color to key out. You'll find it. It's there. I mean, that's how I did this. That's how I made the image. So my initial click was pretty good. But you can move these sliders around as well, just to kind of tweak what you're doing. And you can really, it's just trial and error. You play with the sliders and you see if it makes your mask look any better. But honestly, I mean, the one click that I did was pretty good. But this is a pretty decent result right here. I'm kind of okay with this. You know, the color in the picture overall looks terrible. Needs to be fixed, and now we need to fix the bottom. So this is pretty easy. See, when we keyed out the purple, we keyed out a lot of the color in the flowers as well. So all we have to do is hit Control D. You want to highlight your top layer, hit Control D to duplicate the layer. Now what we have is 2 foregrounds and a background. We want to take the key light off from your top layer. So now what you have on top is our original foreground layer. Okay, you can solo it by clicking there. You can see that's on top. Unsolo it, solo the next layer. You can see our keyed out layer with a nice key there. Okay, very nice key with the messed up bottom, and then you solo that one, see the background. So you click on the top one. We've taken off the key light effect. Now all we want to do, we want to preserve the bottom portion of this picture. We want it to remain untouched for now, okay? Because all we're doing is we're gonna make a file that we could bring into Lightroom and tweak the colors. So all you need to do is select the top layer, okay? Hit the pen tool. So top layer, pen tool, and you're just gonna draw a mask, and it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? You're gonna draw a mask just along the edge of where, you know, you don't want to go over any of the background that needs to be keyed out. You just want to draw it over the top, the highest portion, where we're looking at a solid image still, okay, with nothing that needs to be keyed out, because we're gonna everything that's in this mask is gonna remain in the final picture. You connect the mask, and boom. So now all we're looking at is we have 3 layers. We have the bottom. Okay, look at, that's the bottom. Now, if you want, you could feather this. You hit F, and then I'm gonna put a 10 pixel feather on it. You don't really have to. Doesn't really make much of a difference because it's so muddy in here with all these twigs. You can't really tell. But anyways, there you go. I feathered it. We have our bottom layer. Okay, and we have our keyed layer. And we have our background. Now we can move the background around. We can zoom in. We can tweak it any way we want. But I mean, I like how I had it. So there's our background, and that's it. I mean, we're pretty much done. One click, it's keyed out. Then you do some tweaking, of course, and you bring it to Lightroom for the color correction. So, I mean, this may have been the most obvious thing ever, and if this was a complete waste of, man, like 20 minutes of your time, let me know in the comments. I'll take it. But for me, I haven't seen other people doing this. I have not seen a tutorial like this. I've only seen Photoshop and Lightroom. I haven't seen anyone bring After Effects into the equation when we're talking about editing photos. So this just seemed like the easiest way to do this. You know, with my film background, I honestly, you know, I shouldn't admit this, but Photoshop just makes my head spin, and I need to learn it. But right now, a lot of my composites, and by a lot I mean all of my composites, are done in After Effects, which is primarily, well, exclusively really for video effects. But as you can see here, sometimes it works well for photos. So that's about it. I am back. I will be making much more consistent content going forward here. Really excited for that, and I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.